Welcome to PCTV. I'm Nizar and Jared.
And I'm Jared Kanak.
And on this episode, what we're going to do, throughout the series, what we've tried to do is we've had a couple of segments called Indispensables and Fun Stuff, where we tried to make your computer experience a little bit more rewarding. So, unfortunately, due to time constraints throughout the series, we haven't actually been able to get to those segments at some point. So what we want to do this episode is have a very special episode, which is just Fun Stuff and Indispensables.
Yeah, so we'll look at various programs that can enhance your experience on your computer or secure it under the Indispensables, and we'll generally look at websites and other internet features that are pretty fun.
Fun to be with, fun to go to, fun to have a look around in. Yep.
Yeah.
So on this very special episode of PCTV, we're going to be looking at Indispensables and Fun Stuff for the whole episode. Now, what we do is we get a few questions all the time. Where and what should I use for online storage? So what we're going to showcase today is look at a couple of them, one of them being Dropbox and the other one being SkyDrive. Now with Dropbox, if you'd like to talk about it.
Yeah, well, Dropbox and SkyDrive both represent free storage in the cloud. So it's...
what is the cloud?
Well, the cloud is basically all of the servers and storage devices out there on the internet that are controlled by a company. And you don't know exactly where your data is going, but it uses various metrics and so forth to decide the best place to put it.
Right.
So it's presented to you as one little bit of storage, but in fact that could be on a server here, there, or anywhere.
So it's basically internet storage.
It's like internet storage.
And that's pretty good for you. If you have, like, let's say, all of your contacts on your phone and you upload it to Dropbox or SkyDrive, then if you lose your phone or it gets stolen or whatever, at least all of your contacts and all their phone numbers will be easily accessible for you using any PC that you like.
That's right.
So now Dropbox comes with, I think, 2 gigs to begin with for free. Mm-hmm. You just sign in, you get your own account, you sign up and go through the procedure.
Yep. So, we have to download the client.
Obviously.
If we were going to do that, which we can click on here and have a look.
Sure.
The real usefulness of Dropbox comes when you're using multiple devices.
Definitely, because you can sync across all of them.
That's right. If you take a photograph on your phone and then upload it to Dropbox, you can then come home to your computer and access your Dropbox and see it from there. So to print it out, for example.
That's right. So in other words, you can put Dropbox on all of your devices and it'll be linked as the same account and it will see it all as one account and it'll always be synchronized to that.
Yep.
Cool.
So it's this one repository for all your devices.
Perfect.
Even with internet capable televisions now, you could log into your Dropbox and look at your photographs,
Well, that's very convenient.
Very convenient.
I like that.
So Dropbox is its own company. It was pretty much one of the first ones. We won't sign up just here, but this is what it looks like.
Yep.
And SkyDrive is Microsoft's offering.
Yeah. Now, SkyDrive, because it's Microsoft, I guess they've got a little bit more resources, if you want to call it like that. They give you 7 gigs for free. Now, 7 gigs is a sizable chunk of storage you probably won't get through, but it's definitely very good. It's so cool that they give it to you for free. You just sign in your normal Windows ID. So if you've got a Hotmail account, if you've got a Windows ID, that's works for SkyDrive, it works for your Hotmail. You just have to type in the same exact account stuff and you can set up your SkyDrive account. It'll give you 7 gigs for free and you can access it using any PC or internet device.
That's not likely to shrink or get any smaller either.
But to set up the account is really simple. If you haven't got a Windows ID, it'll ask you to put one in, set up the account, put in a password and you're going. You're already up and running. It's perfect.
Yeah. So if you're using some mobile devices, almost everyone has a smartphone these days, and even internet cafes when you're traveling, something like Dropbox or SkyDrive is going to prove pretty useful.
Definitely, especially for travelers.
But then again, we've also got in our Indispensables some safety components.
Definitely. Now, people ask us all the time, what should we use for keeping ourselves safe on the internet? If you've been going through some suspect web pages or other kinds of things, then you might have to just check and see whether or not any nasties have made their way onto your laptop or computer, and then you can take steps to make sure that they don't do any damage by using a few security devices that we're going to talk about right now.
So again, Microsoft offers a good one called the online scanner or the safety scanner. It's a rather large download. But once you've done it, it'll keep itself up to date and it looks for particular and very recent bits of malware.
Definitely, and the signatures that keeps on checking, so updates to make sure that anything that's new that's come on board will be recognized as malware, and it will be recognized as something that's nasty for your computer, and it will go through and check it out. Being from Microsoft, and if you're using a Windows PC, it quickly finds any sort of changes that aren't supposed to be there and takes the appropriate actions.
A useful tool. It's fairly new.
Very new. They didn't used to have this, but this has just only come out in the last couple of years. It's downloadable. It's free, so you don't need to pay for it. It's a one-time tool, so you can use it, and then you don't have to use it. It's not like a continuous firewall or antivirus software. It's a one-time tool to take off anything that you might have just picked up. Cool.
Another one that's been around for a while, but that has a very good reputation, is often used, is called Malwarebytes.
Yeah. Now, Malwarebytes is specifically, it looks for stuff that goes through in your setup and opening screen, sort of like your boot sector viruses.
That's right.
Now, a lot of other virus scanners won't pick up boot sector viruses because these viruses take effect before the operating system is even loaded onto your computer when you first start it up. This particular antivirus software is designed to look and check your boot sector to make sure that if there is anything in there, it won't be able to do any more damage, and it'll get taken off using Malwarebytes before the operating system comes up.
That's right. It has a great reputation. It's been around for a while. There's a lot of people working on this, so it's a good one to check. Now, if you're thinking that you've got a virus and none of these tools is picking it up, or
sometimes you won't be able to even download your tools because some viruses are smart enough to recognize that you're trying to get rid of them, and they'll stop you from using your internet browser even to go on these sites.
There's a tool called Hijack This, which will run on your computer, and it will generate a very low-level system report of your system, and you can give that to an IT professional or a friend in the family or something that knows.
Because it's really granular, right? It goes right down to like even the hardware layers.
Yeah, Hijack This has been around for quite a while.
Yeah.
And if you visit forums and so forth, asking if you've got some kind of malware on your machine, quite often they'll just say, now post your Hijack This log.
Yeah.
So you download this program, Hijack This. You can find it from a Google search and run it, and it generates it's a very long text file.
Yeah, so it's basically a report.
It's a report. It's details on all the services and drivers and versions that are running on your system.
Yeah.
And an IT professional can generally analyze this and see if something sticks out that shouldn't be there.
Definitely.
Something wrong. So again, quite techie.
Yeah.
Hijack This, but if all else fails, it's a good thing to use.
Yeah, because it'll give you a rundown of exactly what's happening on your box, and any type of IT professional that specializes in this type of service will definitely be very, very happy to see that report. He'll be able to utilize that report and hopefully get to the bottom of it for you.
That's right. And then, well, we have safe browsing or anonymous browsing.
Since we're talking about security and we're talking about online safety, I think it definitely serves us to mention the fact that there is an online web browser called Tor, the Tor project, which gives you basically internet anonymity, where you can browse online. It doesn't show where you're from. It doesn't show it doesn't pick up any of the analytics that normally any of your web browsers will do, so that you don't have to have people know exactly what your internet habits are, what your purchase history is, all that sort of stuff that you might do through your normal browser. That stuff is usually collected and used by Google or any of the other web browsers, Bing, Chrome, all of them
now, because really probably the most obvious lack of anonymity that comes out in web browsing today is through advertising.
Definitely.
And what most ISPs and services will do is log your IP address. That's the unique address that your computer gets.
Yeah.
And they'll remember it. So Google, a lot of them, ads, Facebook, a lot of these will remember the things you've clicked on.
Yeah.
So if you've looked at football and basketball, and perhaps you're interested in cooking, right, you will find that you start to see ads popping up which seem to be random, but they're not random. And they'll come up and they'll be cooking and they'll be footy, and it's logged and categorized
based on your browsing
address.
habits. That's right.
Exactly.
And your IP address, the best way to think of it is like this: if you've got a car, it's got a registration plate, and on that registration plate is unique. Well, your computer also has an ISP address which is unique to your computer.
Yep.
So it's just like the reg on your car. So what happens is when you start searching through the internet, you start clicking on certain things. Let's say you're going to Venice and you want to start looking at holiday destinations and stuff like that. You'll start getting ads popping up specifically about those holiday destinations that you were talking about.
That's right.
Now, that isn't random. That's based on the analytics of what you've been clicking on. So you get targeted advertising that's specific to what you've been browsing.
Yeah.
And it might be good in the long run, I guess. But if you don't like that, if you don't want to have people knowing exactly where you've been or what you've been looking at, and you just want that bit of anonymity, then Tor is what you need to use.
That's right. It'll create multiple hops around sites and it'll encrypt that traffic. So the source sites that you're looking at or the ad collectors won't be able to determine the source of the browsing, i.e. you. And so it's just considered an anonymous hit.
Yeah, so in Google, you type in Tor, it'll take you to the Tor project's website, and then you can download it. It's free, and it works like any other browser. It's just that it gives you online anonymity and it keeps you safe.
Yeah.
We'll start off with something local. Now, I know for a fact that when I get in my car and go driving around to look at getting fuel, when the prices have jumped, I get really angry because I didn't know the prices had jumped. There is a website you can go to where it gives you a real-time rundown of exactly where the cheapest fuel prices are in Adelaide. And it's called Motormouth.
Motormouth.
Yeah.
So how does this work?
It basically, you type in Motormouth into your Google browser or any browser you want, and it'll find your local area. It'll go to all the different surveys because they log in what the petrol prices are, and then you can find out which one closest to you is the cheapest and go there rather than spending time looking and searching for a cheap servo and end up spending more money than you would have saved finding one.
Traveling.
Yeah,
And
there you
look,
go.
there
It
we
gives you a
go.
list of all the cheapest prices in that particular suburb that we clicked right now, and
So
it's
it
in
looks
real
like
time.
Around the Payneham area, the Easy Fuel SA Clemzig on OG Road is 144, and that's the cheapest out of these 6 that have come up here.
Yeah. And especially on that turnaround day where some servos have already gone up by 17 cents and some haven't. Now that's when this site comes into its own, because you can find out exactly which servos haven't changed up yet and get them before they do.
In fact, depending on your job and what you're doing, if you're driving a lot or you're driving a truck or a van, this could be considered an indispensable.
Oh yeah.
So
We say it's a fun thing, but it could be your indispensable depending on how much you use your car.
all right, that's Motormouth.
Motormouth.
What else we got?
We got flightradar.com.
Flight Radar.
Flightradar24.com. Now you just type in flightradar24 in Google. It'll take you to this really impressive interface, and what it does is it shows you every plane that's in the air in real time right now, and you can click on any one of these planes.
Wow.
Yeah. This
let's
is Europe
click-
at the moment. It's going
Here's one over
crazy.
in Germany.
Right, so you click on any plane there, it gives you the real-time analytics so you can tell where the plane is coming from, where it's going to, its current speed, its current height, who the airline company is. You can click on the destination airport and it gives you a list of all the arrivals and departures, or you can click on the departing airport and see when it left. Now, any plane that you click on, it gives you real-time updates. So if that plane was delayed, if that plane was in any way diverted because of weather or anything like that, it'll have that right there. So you can track people. And I have actually tracked people all the way from Europe to Australia using this website. I could not believe how convenient it really was. And it takes you all around the world.
Goodness, if nothing else, it just shows how many planes are in the air.
It's crazy. Look at how
one
many.
time
It looks like
in the world.
ants. It's just so convoluted, and it's
really
just so
is.
congested. The skies over Europe.
So
now, when you go over to America, you'll see that the planes are in a different color. Now, the reason why the planes are in a different color over America is because in America they're delayed by 5 minutes,
I
whereas
see.
all the yellow planes, European planes, and the rest of the world, they're real time. So that's actually where the plane is at that second.
So that might be a security thing?
It is for America.
Yeah,
but
for
America's a little
America.
bit paranoid.
Well, they are. It's, 2001 pretty much sort of changed things for the
See,
States.
and even Australia at this time of day, it's got its own fair share of flight traffic. But it gives us a very usable user interface, and it's not difficult to navigate around it, and it gives you so much information, you won't know what to do with it.
Yeah, very impressive. Okay, so say we want to do some shopping.
All right, so now there are several internet websites you can go to do some shopping. I think the most famous one would probably be eBay.
eBay.
So let's go to eBay.
It used to start with, basically secondhand goods and everything, but now it's really evolved into whole online stores.
Yeah.
And there's merchants on there. And, in its early days, I suppose there was a few shonkies. Mm-hmm. People were selling stuff, and because it's online and very anonymous, it was hard to get your money back or hard to get what you paid for. And now there's this rating system for merchants.
It's really tightened things up.
And it's really tightened things up. So, when you buy something, you give feedback on the merchant. And really,
unless a feedback will sink a merchant.
Yes, it will. Unless someone's at, 98, 99% good feedback or more, probably leave them alone.
Yeah.
Because this is basically cumulative from all the sales that they've made and people saying, yes, I got my product, it's a very good price, I'm very happy with it.
So you go onto the website, basically you look for the product or item that you want to buy, and you'll find an auction, and it'll have like a timer based on how much time is left before the end of the auction. Now, what people will tend to do on eBay is they'll wait until the final seconds of an auction to keep the bids as low as possible, and then put in their final bids hoping that they can keep it as low as possible. So always be mindful of the fact that if you're bidding on something that's $100 or something, just before the end of the auction time runs out, you might find that that'll jump 10, 20, 40%.
That's right. So I've brought up here just some computer components.
Yep.
Someone's selling a video card here. It's obviously a second-hand piece. They want $20 for it as their bid.
Yep. 25 minutes to go.
25 minutes to go, and no one's bid on that yet. So if you were to put $20.01, then you would be the first bid, and when that time runs out, you would get it at $20.01.
Yeah.
Some of them have in a buy it now.
Right, where you can bypass the actual time limit and put in a cash offer right there and see if it gets accepted.
That's right. So that's almost like a reserve price in a way. And they're saying, or rather their reserve price might be $10, but you can buy it now for $30. Mm-hmm. And if you don't want to wait and you really want that product, you can just do it. So really some good bargains in there.
Definitely.
Definitely check the merchant.
Now, the other one I guess we have to talk about is Amazon.
Amazon, yes. Amazon is a pretty good one. Now, Amazon started with books.
Yeah.
So
Initially.
So what are they calling it these days? Booktopia.com. But effectively, Amazon started with books. Any book you like, and you buy it online, you generally get the best price, even including the postage and handling.
One caveat with Amazon, and I was stung by this over the Christmas break recently, where I wanted to buy some things, and I found that Amazon won't ship certain products to Australia. So what I had to do was I had to go to a third-party website called myusa.com. What that does basically is it lets you set up an account where they give you an American address, you see. You set up the account, they make you pay, I think, $10 joining fee or something to that effect. It's very minimal. But what it allows you to do is that you can then make 1 or 2 purchases per calendar year for free through Amazon. You give the Amazon people the myusa.com address that they send out to you. When you set up an account, they give you an address. This is a proxy address within the United States. And then Amazon will send their product to them. Then they will ship to Australia for you. And I found it was absolutely seamless. It was really, really quick. And there was no problems doing it. And in that way, you got around that problem where Amazon doesn't ship to Australia for some reason. They used to, but apparently they don't now. They
used to, but maybe it's certain products or something like that. But either way, if you do hit any problems like that, you can use someone like this.
And as you can see from myus.com, it gives you a US address. It shops for all retailers, and they'll ship anywhere in the world, including us, thank God.
It's fantastic.
Yeah.
Okay. There's another one that's a little more local and good with Australia called Gumtree. Gumtree is very popular, I find.
Because I think you're allowed to list for free.
Ah, yeah, well, there you go.
That's why.
I mean, this is really, I think, the closest thing to the old classifieds.
Yeah.
It's like or the Trading Post.
Trading Post online. Did you know the Trading Post is no longer a written publication? It's only online.
All right.
There you go.
One. Well, at least we've got something to replace it.
Gumtree.
So, yeah, you can find some really good stuff on here.
Yeah.
The usual kind of gear, home and garden, automotive, clothing and jewelry. So it's just like a Trading Post. And
it goes by region and it goes by category.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so definitely have a look there.
Definitely.
Really good one. Yeah.
Gumtree.
One other for, I guess, giving and removing goods and so forth that Rachel let us know about is the freecycle.org. Right, and this is an excellent enterprise that's looking at recycling and more environmental and non-waste, sort of idea.
Oh, yeah.
Where it's a give and take type thing. So they will come by and they will pick up stuff that you don't need and try and, give it to someone who needs it.
Right.
And effectively trying to eliminate waste and trying to keep things usable.
So they're recycling things that are still useful, yes?
Yeah.
Right.
So they can pick stuff up and that'll add to their stock, or you could request stuff, but very little money changes hands, if any at all.
That's fantastic.
So as their logo says here, changing the world
Freecycle.org.
one gift at a time.
I like that.
I like it too.
It's very nice.
Yeah, and so you can see here we've got Adelaide, Barossa, Copper Coast, so Mount Gambier. It stays very local.
I like it.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah.
It's freecycle.org. Okay, what's next?
So, yeah. What else we got here?
For fun stuff.
Fun stuff. Spotify.
Music.
Tell us about Spotify.
So with Spotify, it's basically an online repository of music that you can download. I think you basically get yourself a sign-in. It gives you a free sign-in to begin with, but then obviously you need to get very quickly. I think you can only download a few songs before they ask you to get a paid membership.
Hook, line, and sinker. But, yeah.
But by that stage, you've already had the taste, and and it's so quick and easy, and sort of like iTunes in a different way, in that it's not specific for Mac and for iPods and Apple stuff. Right? Spotify will download to your Android devices, will download to your PC, will download to basically any computer you've got, and you pay for a subscription that's reasonably minimal. It's actually quite cheap over a month or a year, depending on which one you choose, and then you can download as many songs as you like based on that subscription.
That's not bad.
Yeah, and you won't get into any kind of legal troubles because you've downloaded some music, and that could really it could really get you into a lot of trouble.
Well, it can now. I mean, in the UK, I've just read about now they are monitoring internet usage, and if they find that your home IP address, so someone in your family or someone who's taken your IP address, is downloading too much stuff, they'll start by what's called shaping your internet connection.
Yeah.
They'll slow it
They'll
down.
bottleneck it down.
And then they'll cut it off altogether.
Really?
Yep. If you do not stop downloading from torrent sites, etc., they'll cut it off completely. So they're really taking this seriously.
Yeah. So then in that case, you better get something like Spotify that allows you to download what music you'd like, pay a minimal subscription, and get no legal ramifications.
And then we've got one of my personal favorite sites.
Tell me about Underground Documentaries.
Undergrounddocumentaries.com. That's a relatively new site.
Yeah.
It claims it's got 800 plus documentaries on there. It doesn't host them all itself. These are largely, some of them are just embedded links to YouTube or Vimeo or other sites that host.
But it's a single site repository.
But it's a single site that categorizes a lot of alternative style documentaries.
There's a lot of documentaries on here that you just wouldn't see in the mainstream media, and that's what I think is the single biggest drawing point to this site, because it does give you an insight to stuff that you wouldn't normally see on your mainstream.
Now, take it with a grain of salt. Again, this is not putting forward one idea or another. It's, like you say, it's just putting forward documentaries that probably wouldn't get a lot of light in mainstream.
Yeah.
I mean, we've got everything from psychology and mind, religion, technology, war and military history, conspiracies, 9/11, alternative
disasters,
history,
drugs and alcohol, economy and banking,
there.
like everything.
And there are some fantastic documentaries. We've got one here on recently, the Sandy Hook disaster. The commercialization of childhood, the crucible of empire, the Spanish-American War. I mean, there's a lot of, it's a wealth of information.
Definitely, and it's across an entire spectrum of different topics that you probably wouldn't normally get a chance to have a look at.
That's right.
It's fantastic.
So,
and you're allowed to comment on them, and you're allowed to rate them, and have a great time with it. It's a great site, and I love it as well.
Yeah, alternative media.
Yeah. So there are indispensables and our fun stuff that we thought that you really need to have and know about, and we hope that you've enjoyed them as much as we've enjoyed presenting them to you. Once again, remember, if you have any further queries or questions and you'd like to know more, then just contact us on our YouTube channel or on our Facebook page, which you should really like. So we'll see you soon.
See you soon.